What a night at Madison Square Garden for UFC 322. And no, I'm not just talking about the fights inside the octagon. Just before the main card was set to begin, all hell broke loose in the crowd, and at the center of it all was none other than Dillon Danis. Now, for those of you who follow the sport closely, you know Danis has never actually fought in the UFC, but he seems to have a knack for getting into fights at UFC events. This marks his second major incident, and this time, it was a massive brawl involving multiple people. Videos started flooding social media from fans inside the arena, showing a chaotic scene. Security guards and even local police were seen rushing in, trying to separate several fighters. It quickly became clear that Danis was throwing down with members of Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev's camp. One of the key figures identified in the melee was Abubakar Nurmagomedov, a former UFC fighter and Khabib's cousin. In the footage, you can see security physically dragging him away from the chaos. The situation was so intense that even the UFC's chief business officer, Hunter Campbell, was spotted trying to de-escalate things and calm everyone down. It was a seriously ugly scene that overshadowed the incredible fights we were all there to see. While Danis and Abubakar Nurmagomedov were the most recognizable faces in the brawl, it was obvious that many more people were involved. Security had their hands full, trying to contain the situation as it spilled across several rows of seats. It was a messy, sprawling conflict that left many onlookers stunned. This wasn't just a heated argument. It was a full-on physical altercation right there in the middle of Madison Square Garden, one of the most iconic venues in sports. The fact that it happened just moments before the pay-per-view main card kicked off made it even more shocking. The energy in the arena instantly shifted from anticipation for the fights to a kind of tense confusion. Now, if you're thinking this whole situation feels familiar, you're absolutely right. This isn't the first time Dillon Danis has clashed with the Nurmagomedov camp. We all remember the infamous post-fight brawl at UFC 229 back in 2018. After Khabib submitted Conor McGregor, he dramatically leaped over the cage and went straight for Danis, who was in McGregor's corner. That incident was the culmination of an incredibly toxic and personal build-up to the fight, with Danis serving as one of McGregor's main training partners and grappling coaches. The war of words between the two camps was relentless, and the bad blood was palpable. That night in Las Vegas went down in UFC history as one of its most chaotic moments. It seems that the animosity from 2018 is far from resolved. The events at UFC 322 are a clear indication that the feud is still very much alive. The history between these two sides is deep and personal. Danis has always been a provocative figure, closely aligned with McGregor, and he has never shied away from trash talk. The Nurmagomedov camp, on the other hand, is known for its strong sense of loyalty and a very serious approach to respect and honor. When you mix those two volatile elements together, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. It was only a matter of time before they crossed paths again, and given their history, another confrontation was almost inevitable. Let's break down why this rivalry is so intense. It goes beyond just sports competition. The build-up to UFC 229 involved insults that crossed lines, touching on family, religion, and nationality. Khabib felt deeply disrespected by McGregor and his team, including Danis. The post-fight brawl was Khabib's way of retaliating against what he perceived as unforgivable insults. Danis, for his part, has continued to be a vocal antagonist online, often taunting Khabib and his teammates. He thrives on being the villain and getting under people's skin. So, when these two groups found themselves in the same building, especially in the high-pressure environment of a major UFC event, the tension was bound to boil over. What we saw at MSG was a continuation of a beef that has been simmering for years. The fallout from this latest incident is still unfolding. We're waiting to see what, if any, consequences will be faced by those involved. Will the UFC issue bans? Will Madison Square Garden press charges? It's a complicated situation. The UFC generally takes a very dim view of this kind of behavior, especially when it disrupts a major event and involves athletes, former or current, Hunter Campbell's direct involvement shows how seriously the promotion is taking this. They can't have their events descending into chaos. This reflects poorly on the brand and creates a dangerous environment for everyone, including the fans who paid good money to be there. We also have to consider the ripple effects. This brawl reignites a narrative that the UFC has been trying to move past. The idea of MMA as a sport of uncontrolled chaos. While rivalries sell fights, there's a line, and a public brawl crosses it. It will be interesting to see how Dana White and the UFC brass address this publicly. Will they condemn it harshly, or will they quietly try to manage it behind the scenes? Given the high-profile nature of everyone involved, this story isn't going away anytime soon. It's now part of the ongoing saga between the McGregor, Danis camp and the Nurmagomedov camp. Looking back, Dillon Danis has built a career on controversy as much as on his grappling skills. Since his association with McGregor, he's become a major figure in the world of combat sports, but often for reasons outside of actual competition. He recently fought Logan Paul in a boxing match that was preceded by one of the most vicious trash-talking campaigns we've ever seen. He knows how to generate headlines and keep his name in the conversation, and incidents like this, whether planned or not, certainly achieve that. The question is, at what cost? This kind of behavior could lead to serious legal trouble or being banned from major sporting events altogether. Ultimately, the Brawl UFC 322 was a stark reminder of how personal and real the rivalries in combat sports can be. They don't always stay inside the cage. Years of bad blood, insults, and pride all came to a head in the middle of a packed arena. It was a chaotic, ugly scene that took away from a great night of fights. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Danis was out of line, or was this bound to happen? Let me know your opinions in the comments below. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it develops and bring you all the updates. Thanks for watching, and if you want to stay on top of all the latest news in combat sports, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.